Niskara Rashmi Guryam Rasod Mukha Kalapadyata Muchachitena Udi Pita Smara Rujam Vrajapri Hadvadhunam Astur Harishyati Sirodandana Gasya Pridan Vane Nasiniskara Rashmi Guryam Rasol Mukha Kalapadyata Muchitena Udi Pita Smara Rujam Vrajabri Hadvadhunam Hartu Harshyati Sirodan Dandanu Agasya
Idan Vanenishi Shakara Rashmi Goryam
Greeting Vane Nishinaskara Rashmi Goryam Murchitena
Udipita Smarujam Brajabriyad Anam
Udi Pita Smara Rujam Vrajapri Hadvadhunam
Artur Harishyati Shiro Danadan Vesya
Hartu Haryasi Siryodana Nagasha
Kridan Vaneni Shinishakara Rashmi Goryam
Kridan Vane Nishiniskara Rashmi Goryam
Rason Mukakala Padaya Tamorchitena
Rason Mukha Kalapadyata Murchitena
Udi Pita Smararujang Rajabridvaduna
Udi Pita Smaran Rujam Rajabrihadpunam
Artur Harishati Shiro Dana Danugasya
Hartu Haryashi Shiryodana Nagasya
Kridan Vaneni Shishikara Ramsi Gurayam
Kridan Vane Nishinaskara Rashmi Guryam
Rason Mukha Kalapadayatma Murchitenya
Rason Mukha Kalapadyata Murchitena
Udipita Smara Rujam Vrajaprid Vadaunam
Buddha Pita Smara Rujam Rajabrihad Vadhunam
Hartur Harshiyati Shiro Danadanu Gasya
Patur Haryashi Shiryodana Nigasya
Ridan Vane Nishi Nishakara Rashmi Goryam
Kridan Vane Nishiniskara Rashmi Goryam
Rason Mukha Kalapadaya Tamorchitena
Rasol Mukha Kalapadyata Murchitena
Udipita Smara Rujam Brajabhridvadhunam
Udi Pita Smara Rujam Rajabrihadvadhunam
Artu Harishyati Shiro Dhanadhanugasya
Patur Hayashi Shirodana Nugasha
Kridan Vaneni Shinashakara Rashmi Goryam
Kridan Vane Nishiniskara Rashmi Goryam
Rason Mukha Kalapadaya Tamurchitena
Rasol Mukha Kalapadyata Murchitena
Udipita Smara Rujam Vrajabrid Vatunam
Pudipita Smarujam Brajabrihatvanunam
Hartur Harishyati Shiro Danudanugasya
Hatur Hayashi Shirodani Gasya
Kritan Vane Nishi Nishakara Rashmi Goryam
Kridan Vane Nishiniskara Rashmi Goryam
Rason Mukha Kalapadayata Murchitena
Rason Mukha Kalapadyatan Chitena
Udipita Smararujam Vrajabridvadunam
Pudipita Smarujam Brajabrihatvanunam
Hartur Harishyati Shiro Dhanadanugasya
Hartu Hashasti Siryodana Nagagasha. Everyone chanted. We'll do word by word synonyms. Kridan, while engaged in his pastimes. Vane, in the forest of Vrindavan. Nishi, nocturnal. Nishkara, the moon. Rashmi Goryam, white moonshine. Rasa Unmukha, desiring to dance with. Kalapadyata, accompanied by sweet songs. Murchitena, and melodious music. Udipita, awakened. Smara Rujam, sexual desires. Vrajabrihat, the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi. Vadunam, of the wives. Hartu, of the kidnappers. Harshati, will vanquish. Sera, the head. Danandananugasya, of the follower of the rich Kuvera. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the Lord was engaged in the pastimes of the rasa dance in the forest of Vrindavan, enlivening the sexual desires of the wives and inhabitants of Vrindavan by sweet and melodious songs, a demon of the name Sankuchada, a rich follower of the treasure of heaven, Kuvera, kidnapped the damsels, and the Lord severed his head from his trunk. We should carefully note that the statements described herein are the statements of Brahmaji to Narada, and he was speaking to Narada of events that would happen in the future during the advent of Lord Krishna. The pastimes of the Lord are known to the experts who are able to see past, present, and future. And Brahmaji, being one of them, foretold what would happen in the future. The killing of Sankanchuda by the Lord is a more recent incident after the Rasalila and not exactly a simultaneous affair. In the previous verse, we have seen also that the Lord's engagement in the affairs of the forest fire was described along with his pastimes of punishing the Kaliya snake. And similarly, the pastimes of the rasa dance and the killing of Sankuchada are also described herein. The adjustment is that all these incidents would take place in the future. After the time when it was being foretold by Brahmaji to Narada, the demon Sankuchada was killed by the Lord during his pastimes at Harika in the month of Falugana, and the same ceremony is still observed in India by the burning of the effigy of Sankuchada one day prior to the Lord's pastimes at Harika, generally known as Holi. Generally, the future appearance of the activities of the Lord or his incarnations are foretold in the scriptures. And thus, the pseudo-incarnations are unable to cheat persons who are in knowledge of the events as they are described in authoritative scriptures. So what is that? This is like the original Burning Man. In Holi, they throw all the colored powder, what is it, colored flour, colored powder all over the place. So that's a really colorful ceremony. So yeah, this is really nice because Prabhupada's mentioning in this purport here that Brahmaji, he's speaking. So the life of Brahma and the life of the universe is what? It's 3 million years, or no, 3 trillion years. So we're talking about an incident, a conversation that took place from Brahma to Narada some 1.5 trillion years ago. And at that time, Brahma was foretelling in the future that Krishna would be making his advent and performing his pastimes. And so, yeah, what I mentioned, Krishna comes in one day of Brahma, and it's during that one day of Brahma that, according to astrological calculations, the Treta Yuga and the Dwapara Yuga are switched. So generally, the yugas are Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga. But in this sequence of yugas, the Dwapara Yuga came third after Treta Yuga, and Treta Yuga came second. And then Kali Yuga began when Krishna advented in the Dwapara Yuga and then left the planet at the beginning of the Kali Yuga. And so, yeah, this is real nice. The what is it? The unscrupulous commentators on Srimad Bhagavatam or on Rasa Leela, they jump directly to the 10th canon of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they hold a big festival hearing Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days, but without hearing all the background, the backbone of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing about the Supreme Person of God in his various forms and incarnations and activities, and that one gets the wrong idea that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead, or what the Supreme Person of Godhead actually is. And so they get the wrong idea of the actual affairs of Krishna and the Rasa Leela dance like that. So, and they might, what is it, like have some fake ecstatic symptoms or something like that. So, so that's not wanted. Hearing from the actual Vaishnavas of the pure devotees and lining the disciplic succession is the way to actually hear, especially these pastimes, in order to have the proper understanding. You know, and of course, this is Srimad Bhagavatam isn't the subject matter of the impersonalists, because they think it's the supreme within Krishna that you surrender to, or you can meditate and become God, merge into Brahman, and then you're just as good as Krishna, like that. So they have the wrong conception. There's like Advaitavadis, Mayavadis, what's it, Tattvavadis, so Advaita. So yeah, there's different types of impersonalists. And they were saying, was it in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Prakasananda Saraswati Goswami, he was talking to Lord Chaitanya at the time when he was still an impersonalist. And he was saying that Krishna's body in this form is a creation of Maya. It was all backwards. Like Maya is actually the creation of Krishna, right? Maya doesn't create Krishna at any specific time. So these are like the Mayavadis that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that fools deride me when I descend in human form, not understanding my transcendental nature, being supreme, like that. And so, yeah, what we're also reading is that Mother Yasoda had actually many times seen within the mouth of Krishna the whole entire universe. So she just was thinking that Narayan was protecting her son. And because that would disturb her parental affection, disturb her specific mood that she's in parental affection with Krishna. So there's 5 different types of relationship. There's servitude, friendship, parental affection, conjugal love. I think I'm missing one. No, neutrality. You know, like the cows and the peacocks and the birds and the trees and the flowers and the river Jamuna. So they're all like in the neutrality. They're serving Krishna in their ways. Krishna walks by and the flowers are just pushing it open. Krishna would just pick one of their flowers like that. And that's the same. There's, oh yeah, and there's also some details. I was kind of hoping to come across some intimate details of the Rasa Leela, but Prabhupada was saying that Krishna performed the Rasa Leela when he was 7 years old. So this can't be mundane sex desire, because generally that's not present in 7-year-olds. And then the other thing is that time was expanded to a whole day of Brahma, a whole Brahma Muhurta. during the night of the Rasa Leela. And so I don't know, unless Maharaj has like some of the inside nectar on that, the inside scoop on the Rasa Leela, or you'd like to speak on this verse.
Yes, the episode about Shankarchuda was evidently he was also a friend of Kongsun, and so together there was some conspiracy to try to get the damsels of Vrindavan for their pleasure. So there was some effort in that way, but ultimately, whether it's Kangsa or whether it's Shankarchuda, whoever tries to interfere, even in the case of the gorilla.
A Dravidic gorilla?
Yeah, he was actually a devotee of Lord Ramchandra in the previous pastimes, but he became bad association, so he fell out of his transcendental position.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Dravidic gorilla, yeah, that's a pretty funny pastime. But yeah, and he was previously a devotee of Lord Ramchandra, that the monkey warriors, they helped Lord Ramchandra conquer Ravana and Sri Lanka. And yeah, due to bad association, he fell down and became a pretty big rascal. And at first, the damsels of Raja, the gopis, they're just laughing, right? But then he was getting a little more involved, and then I guess he was passing stool and throwing stool at him. He was exposing himself to him. So, yeah, what, Krishna killed him? Oh, Balaram, yeah, Balaram. Some Balaram killed him, right? Yeah. So, all the whoever is actually killed by the Lord, they receive liberation, either into the Lord's effulgence or into the spiritual sky. Generally, it's Brahman Jyoti in the Lord's effulgence. That's described many, many times. The spiritual spark was seen to come out of the body of the demon and was in the sky like that. So, yeah, I was just reading in the purport, Prabhupada was saying that they get either elevation to one of the Vaikuntha planets, or they get the Brahman realization, Brahman, emerge in the Supreme Brahman. So for the devotees, merging in the Supreme Brahman is hellish, right? Well, there's no activity there. It's the atmosphere of eternity. So it's like white light, eternity. It's Krishna's effulgence, Krishna's aura. And then there's Paramatma is a little more advanced. It's the form of Krishna is expansion. It's Kashera Dakshai Vishnu. There's expansions of the three Vishnus: Karana Dakshai Vishnu, Garbha Dakshai Vishnu, and Kashera Dakshai Vishnu. He's within the heart of every living entity and within each and every atom. And not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. So Krishna is super conscious. Like we're conscious of our bodies. It's Chaitra and Chaitrajna, the owner and the knower, the field of activities. And then there's the owner of the knower. There's the owner of the field of activities. So what action is and how action is performed and what improper action is and proper action is described in Bhagavad Gita. Jai Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. So like there's the place, the endeavor, there's the senses, the chaitra, right? So these all are all factors of action. And then there's factors of knowledge, right? So one received knowledge consciously, right? Our hands, we don't receive knowledge through our hands, but we have these ear holes. So it's described that the ear holes of those who have never heard the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they're just simply like the holes where snakes live, like that, or the eyes that never see the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord in the temple are like those eyes on the plumes of the peacocks, or are the bellows not breathing? Those are those fan things that they use in the smith shop. You know, where they show the guy hitting the metal on the anvil with a hammer. He's keeping the fire hot, so they're giving it oxygen. They're saying, do not even the bellows breathe. So it's basically just being described as a dead body. A dead body is not engaged in the Supreme Personality of Godhead's devotional service, or never hears his instructions from his devotees, who never walk to the temple. So, you know, that's what was the saying that the crowns of the kings who never bow down before the Lord are just what were they? You know the analogy on that what they actually are. So, anyways, yeah, they're just simply useless. So that's the our actual real position in the material world, especially now in the age of Kali. So we're given a great opportunity to achieve the highest boon that's not achieved in other ages. And this is Lord Chaitanya actually comes once in a whole lifetime of Brahma. So that's very, very, very rare. So Advaita Acharya, he's actually the incarnation of Lord Brahma. And he was worshiping Krishna and with Ganges water and Tulsi leaves. And what he was saying, he was asking the Lord to come personally in this time, in this Kali Yuga, because he saw that the condition of this specific age of Kali Yuga was very, very fallen. And we're very, very sinful and very, very fallen. I was thinking that this kind of actually really take an act of God like that, because generally specifically empowered living entity like Advaita Acharya, they descend and they promulgate the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and inaugurate the Sankirtan movement and teach everyone how to become a devotee engaged in devotional service. But Lord Chaitanya comes once in a whole lifetime of Brahma to do that personally. Yeah, so it's very, very rare. So in this specific chapter yugas, these four yugas, Lord Chaitanya came in this Kali Yuga. So yeah, we're really very fortunate on that we have this special mercy. And Lord Chaitanya is Krishna directly in the mood and the form of Srimati Radharani. As it's described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that there's Krishna, right? And it was singular. And then he expanded his internal potency. Then he was Radha and Krishna. So basically Radha's name actually means to worship. So, and then there's different transcendental qualities. There's a list of these transcendental qualities that Vishnujan Swami, he's reciting. And so there's these MP3s on that. He was stating that how the transcendental braids of Srimati Rani are her transcendental anguish in love of Godhead for Krishna. And it was described as different parts of her clothing and her cosmetics and her jewelry were different expressions of love of Godhead. Oh yeah, I was looking up a few things about that too. There was like 25 qualities of Radharani. And so there's quite a lot of information about them. So now they're saying now that Krishna is divided from his internal potency, never again to become one, right? There'll always be two. So that's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined form again of Radha and Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya teaches us how to be a devotee and exhibits unparalleled Mahabhavas and chanting ecstasies, chanting Krishna's name and discussing Krishna's intimate pastimes with his intimate associates like Shrup Damodar, and Krishna was just simply in some type of trance, and he was trying to find Krishna and crying like that. He was in like a rose garden like that, and he was just fall unconscious and like that. So so this was the final days of the Lord's pastimes in Jagannath Puri before leaving the planet. He basically, I heard a couple of things. He ran straight for the Jagannath deity and entered into the Jagannath deity, right? And I even heard it described, he even like ran on top of everyone's heads to do that. And then someone else said that he basically was seen going in the deity room and just closing the door and just never came out. But that's how Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, he is Lord Jagannath. So that's actually how Lord Chaitanya actually left the planet. And so Krishna was saying, one who understands my transcendental nature of birth and activities does not take birth again in this material world where it's simply temporary miserable. So by hearing about Krishna's pastimes like this, and we understand something about Krishna, and we understand a lot about Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, and understand things about Krishna and his personality and his pastimes through pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. You know how he killed King Kamsa, and he killed the great elephant. Was it Kalipita? And the wrestlers, Mustika. What was the other one's name? Mustika and Chanur. And they say how he traveled from Vrindavan to go back to Mathura, and how the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they're just simply thinking, well, the women of Mathura are more sophisticated than us. He likes them better than he likes us. So he's gone away. Like that. So they're speaking different things. And Akura, he came to speak to the inhabitants of Vrindavan and to the gopis. And he had features very similar to Krishna. At first they thought he was Krishna who was approaching, but then you could see that he had a message from Krishna. And so then they would discuss about Krishna with Akura. And Akura took Krishna away in the first place, right? He had the chariot. And when he was chanting Gayatri in the Ganges River, he saw Krishna and Balaram there. But then he saw them transformed into Seshanaga and Mahavishnu. So he thought his eyes were playing a trick on him. So after he finished his Gayatri, he went back. He went to go check. Krishna and Balaram were on the chariot just like before. You know? So Lord Chaitanya, he also did this. It's called the Vrindavan pastimes, where Lord Nityananda became Seshanaga and Lord Chaitanya became Mahavishnu, and Advaita Acharya became Brahma, like that, and they were in the Jamuna River. And so this is something called the Vrindavan pastimes. You can hear this and read this in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's really nice. So are there any questions or comments, points of discussion or anything? Or anybody have anything special to say about the Rasa Leela? Or anything? Or someone online? Oh, but you have a question?
So we're hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is more of like a category of conversation topics, because like it's said that there's different Bhagavatams, or actually like even more things can be called Bhagavatam even than what's here. And then like in the higher planets, they have more. I think we were speaking about that recently.
Yeah, Maharaj said that. Yeah, they have hundreds of volumes in the Pathway Plans. Well, what the Srimad Bhagavatam is, it's not necessarily in chronological order, but it's compiled and selected from previous famous narrations or histories from the Puranas. So there's different types of Puranas, and these are, histories that are mentioned there. And Jai Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. So that's Bhagavatam, is topics of Godhead. But of course, there has to be authoritative sources and authoritative scriptures, something authorized, who would actually decide to add something to Bhagavatam like that. But there could be some additional reading, some additional study that can go side by side with study of Bhagavatam like that.
This conversation or this, what we're reading here, this Sanskrit, this is a quote that, or I'm asking, I want to clarify. Is this a quote from Shukadeva Goswami, which was the conversation on so many countless years prior that Narada Muni and Brahma had?
Yeah, that's what was taking place here. I was going to look that up again, because sometimes Sanaka Rishi is inquiring from who was it? From Suti Goswami. So sometimes Suti Goswami is speaking and Sanaka Rishi is inquiring. And Suti Goswami, he's also describing what he heard from Sukadeva Goswami, as Sukadeva Goswami was speaking to answer the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit, like that. And then what we're reading is they're discussing the conversation of Brahma with Narada. So it's a enveloped series of conversations that are taking place just to answer the questions of the sages of Namasaranya, headed by Sanaka Rishi, and the questions that are being put forth to Sukadeva Goswami by Maharaj Parikshit, like that, to illustrate these points, that this is what they spoke, like that. So we're hearing again about the incarnation, the pastimes of the Lord. In the first canto, there was also a description of, it's called Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Yeah, so this is very similar to that, but a little more detail like that. In Brahma, he's actually speaking of what's called Trikala, someone who knows all past, present, and future. So they're not influenced by imperfect senses or the cheating propensity, or what are the all the imperfections, right? Yeah, make mistakes. Yeah, and become subject to illusion. So, yeah, and cheating. So we're speaking to people who are not subject by illusion, those people who are self-realized and are awakened to God consciousness, like that. And so they also Srila Vyasadeva, he is Trikala also, is that he's filing this great literature. He was also foretelling the the event of Lord Kalki. And I think that's going to be coming up in the next couple of verses. When Lord Kalki comes at the end of the Kali Yuga and just finishes everyone off. He travels at the speed of mind, right? So let's see the modern scientists come up with all their guns and cannons and planes and bombs and atom bombs and try to go to war with this thing that travels so fast at the speed of mind is killing all the demons. It's going to be totally impossible for them to try to fight back. So, and then the new Satya Yuga will again commence. So all that's described. We still have about another 4 million years to go in this Kali Yuga. So whatever they do, something tells me, and I'll be coming across a lot of information how there were advanced societies in the past and they destroyed themselves again, putting them back in the barbaric situations. And then they have these atheistic viewpoints of life that before recorded history, men crawled out of caves. They were primitive like animals. Well, maybe they were after they had their civilizations completely destroyed. So this kind of goes around in cycles. It goes around in cycles. So, you had another question or comment? Oh, Jagannath wants to say something you haven't turned on? Oh, okay. Didn't want to say anything.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
I was just wondering, I think I wrote it down. So why did Lord Brahma test Krishna to see if he was God, if he could see in the future?
Yeah, they become covered by Yoga Maya, by Krishna's internal spiritual potency, and so that they will enact his pastimes. So yeah, Brahma, he took the cowherd boys and he put them in a cave, and he came back 1 second later, and all the cowherd boys and calves were all there with Krishna. So he went to look back. They were all in his cave sleeping. So when he looked back again, he saw they were all Vishnu forms. Yeah, that was the last thing we were reading in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there's the prayers of Lord Brahma to Krishna. They think that they have fallen under illusion temporarily, that they have forgotten they take the humble position, they take the back seat. They're exalted devotees and they were influenced by Krishna's Yoga Maya, but they take the humble position. That's why Krishna had stopped the sacrifices to Indra, because he wanted to humble his devotee like that. He wanted to make him a little more serious devotee, humble his attitude. So just to make him more humble, then he'll make the perfect arrangements, and they'll be like chastised or humiliated. So Prabhupada, we were just listening to this. It's just Krishna's just the business of his little finger on his left hand. So we're talking like a frog's umbrella or a mushroom. A small child picks it up. It's just really insignificant. So that was the position when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. It's just insignificant, like that. So, but it wasn't the toy. It was a real mountain. Like that. So, yeah, did that answer your question? That they come under the control of Krishna's internal energy, Yoga Maya, to engage in their pastimes?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, great. So, any other questions or comments, or maybe we'll end class there? Srimad Bhagavatam class, ki jai.